episode of We Don't Believe You podcast series, where our mission is to dispel and to reverse the false negative narratives and negative stereotypes that have been perpetuated about black people in America for centuries. We do this by highlighting positive black images of individuals who chose not to believe those false negative narratives, but instead chose to succeed in spite of them. And our next guest embodies this principle. So for context, I just want to begin with a quick statistic. 75% of all businesses started fail within 15 years or more. Only 25% of all businesses make it past 15 years. I give this statistic because our next guest has been successfully running her own business for the past 32 years. Navigating many twists and turns after overcoming tremendous obstacles and odds, she graduated from the Wilford Academy School of Cosmetology. She discovered her true gifts and talents. She looked around, found a demand for them, and she found a way to supply it. She's an artist, an entrepreneur, a cosmetologist, a community advocate, a mentor, a source of motivation and inspiration. She's the founder and owner of Creative Fingers Hair Salon in White Plains, New York. Most importantly, she's a beautiful person inside and out. And me being from Yonkers, New York, doing a show on black excellence, success, accomplishment, and achievement, there was no way I could not interview her. So everybody, please welcome Miss Michelle Mushy Bernard.
Hello, and thank you, Brian. You are lovely, and thank you for having me on. I'm honored.
Yeah, no, thank you for your time. I know a person that's been running a business for 32 years, their own business. I just know how busy you are. So I know the sacrifice that you made to be here. So I'm just grateful that you're here.
Thank you.
So one other quick quote is Booker T. Washington said that success is to be measured not so much by the position that one has achieved in life, as much as by the obstacles that they had to overcome. So we know you're a mega successful cosmetologist and entrepreneur. Let's talk about how you got there.
Okay.
So the most serious order of business, and the first order of business, first things first. Lots of people endearingly call you Mushy. So it would be wrong of me to not ask you where that name came from.
Okay. So my mother is a nicknamer. All of us have nicknames. And before there was Tom and Jerry, there was Mush Mouse and Pumpkin Puss. So my name is originally Mushy, but people call me Mushy, Mush. It's from that cartoon, Mush Mouse and Pumpkin Puss. So those who are born in the 70s should know about that cartoon, and it was before Tom and Jerry. So that's how I got my name, by my mom. And because I'm a hugger and all of that stuff, so that's how. And I'm small, so I'm only 4'9.5". So that's how I got my nickname.
4'9.5"?
Yep. Now you better keep that half. I need that half.
Yeah, when you're dealing with 4'9", that half is important.
Yes.
So, second question actually, where were you born and raised?
I was born in Yonkers, New York. Raised Yonkers by way of New Orleans. My dad is from New Orleans. So through the separation, my sister and I spent all our summers in New Orleans and some school years, so back and forth all my life.
So the Yonkers that you grew up in, would you say you grew up in Yonkers?
Yes.
Or grew up in both?
Both, but my core is in Yonkers.
So describe the Yonkers, the city itself. Describe the Yonkers you grew up in.
Okay, the Yonkers that I grew up in is very separated. I would say it's biggest city in Westchester County, but it has a reputation for really separating the Italians, the Greeks, the Jewish people, the black people. And it was a big fight in trying to get us all together. So the Yonkers I grew up in, we all lived in our hood. We all went to the same school until we got to middle school, where they were busing us to other neighborhoods to try to integrate us, which was a hard thing for children in that time. A lot of us didn't make it. And also the project life was hard, but it was a family hood, which I call my alumni. So even to this day, if we all need each other, we are there for each other in Yonkers. And it was about the crack epidemic too. Rap was being born, DJing, balling, fashion. We was gonna be fly no matter what. And yeah, dancing, you know, going to the roller skating rink wheels where we saw Lisa and the bridge is over. Like, all those talents were there. Super talents came out of Yonkers. Mary J. Blige and I, best friends growing up from Slow Bomb Projects. And Yonkers was just full of talent. Dancing, rapping, art, hair, fashion, you name it. It was a part of like the Afro fusion of future, you know. So going back to the past to learn to bring it back into the future was the way we coped in Yonkers, which was all through art. And it was amazing. A lot of talent came out of it, and the desire to make it, hit the ground running, to be fly, to have stability was urgent for us.
So describe the neighborhood you grew up in.
Oh God, okay. We had our fly, you know, the drug dealers were, you know, all throughout. The drug dealers' girlfriends were fly, you know, we looked up to that, you know. A lot of fighting, you know, a lot of drugs, you know, you see families destroyed, but the mothers stuck together. So my mom, Mary's mom, Coy's mom, all of our mothers that we lived in Building 5, they stuck together. They kept our building clean. And we were mature at that age where we had freedom to be outside until the street lights came on. But yeah, you had to be careful. But because we were from the whole, we call Slow Bomb the whole, we looked out for each other as well. So outsiders couldn't come in and make it, but while you were moving around, you know, you had your alumni that had your back on the bad stuff, you know, but you saw a lot of bad stuff too. So it had its gifts and its curse, and a lot of us didn't make it.
And that's really unfortunate. I was, one of the things I was going to ask you, so you would have survived, or you would have made it through the crack epidemic, which I think is one of the most devastating things that happened in our communities. Could you describe the changes that you saw in Yonkers, in Slow Bomb, in life as a result of the crack epidemic?
Oh my God, brilliant people, brilliant women destroyed. I mean, beautiful, articulate, talented, to just wither down to a skeleton of themselves and to do anything and hurt anybody to get this drug. The only way I could describe it is The Walking Dead. where you saw strong women, children, and men go to just zombies. That's the only way I could describe it. Pure zombies, just bodies of people just walking through life clueless, and I can't even put words to it, but it destroyed. I mean, talk about a pandemic. Like, that was one of the times where people just every day, 2, 3, 4, 5 people dying every day for a decade, and children being born on crack. I mean, kids not knowing their fathers, growing up in the foster care system, abused sexually. It just was a trickle effect of everything that can go wrong in life, and it was horrific.
Yeah, my argument, anger, all of that is because it's not over. There's
Right.
still the effects of it. You still see the effects of it to this very day.
Big time, big time, big time.
How about one more description question? Describe the household that you grew up in.
Okay, fun. My mom, she was a comedian. She loved to laugh. We would role play and, like, pick names and be like, they always call me Stop, And we would just role play together to have fun out of nothing. Christmas was always an exciting time. Even when we didn't have my mom, just the sharing of fruits and nuts and, bringing food together was always our family. Mary lived downstairs from me. I lived upstairs. We would argue through the pipes. Be upstairs and downstairs eating and dancing and singing. My little cousin is Styles P. We had the little mic on the hi-fi. He was on it at 8 years old.
That's crazy.
A lot of makeup, hair doing, and fashion. But my mom, she was always orderly. We had like structure, consistency. And then they were the parents that really didn't check in on you, like with your homework and things like that. But the friend groups, we came together and like had reading groups, and there was a recreation center downstairs that we went and had help with our homework and things like that. But it was fun. It was fun, and it kept us safe. So my mom, she just was, her humor, her recipes, and she was stylish too. So she would help me put things together. My sister and I always had a beauty vanity, to sit with our mirror and our little face stuff and everything, to be feminine and to have groomingness was necessary. So yeah, a lot of that, a lot of fun.
That's dope. I can tell. So you had a good childhood.
Yeah.
I can tell by your smile you had a good childhood.
Yeah. It was fun.
So in that, what would you say are 3 lessons or values that you learned growing up in your household or in your neighborhood, just growing up? 3 values that stayed with you to this day that you think still serve you well to this day.
Oh, kindness. Kindness is the highest form of intelligence. To be kind and to be the lender and not the borrower, was big in my house. Being organized. I mean, if you can stay organized, then you can think your way through things. And my mom, I used to have a hard time with this, that because you do something for somebody doesn't require them to do it for you. that was hard for me, where it's like, but I did this and I did this and she said, you got to do it because you want to, not because you think they're going to reciprocate. So that was huge for me. Because in my mind, I thought, if I did this for you, then you will automatically want to do it for me. So that was disappointing in life. And I'll add another thing. I used to always, like if I had events and parties, and even from a kid, I would have about 10, 11 guests at my house. But I was always wondering why the people that didn't come wasn't there. My mother used to have to beat me down and be like, now you better pay attention to them friends that did come. So little things like that. So that, even to this day, I just could hear her say, hey, stick to who's here. Stick to who's showing up for you. Because, as human beings, we get in our heads about who did something to us, instead of who's doing something for us. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that part.
It's because it's almost like you spend a lot of time thinking about stuff we don't have and people that are not around instead of focusing on what we do have
Exactly.
and those that are around.
Right.
That's a great lesson.
Yeah, big time. And it hits you in all walks of life,
What high school did you go to?
I went to Roosevelt High School, Tuckahoe, and Yonkers.
Were you a good student?
No. That's why that's why I knew if I had to hit the ground running, I had to, learn a skill. You know what I'm saying? And I just knew that college wasn't going to be for me. First of all, the money. But I'm a creative brain. You know what I mean? So, no. I was too big for school.
Yeah, no, and you were. Did you like it at all?
School gave me anxiety. It was always like the mean kids. I was really shy, growing up. I wasn't always in the in crowd. So, yeah. I would participate with the talent shows and stuff like that and dance. But, yeah, no. I would always have anxiety walk. And then we were part of that whole busing era in middle school. So when you're 3 black people in one class and you got the Jewish teachers telling you, we getting ink and bricks and eggs thrown out of our bus every day. So, and the teachers were mean to us. So it just wasn't a safe place, So I didn't trust. It wasn't a good place.
So did you end up graduating from Roosevelt High?
I ended up going to a vocational school and requiring my GED. It was a program that they had like a little further down in Tuckahoe. I can't even remember the name of it, but you went there and you just studied for your GED and you took your GED. And from that I would work after school, but a lot of us didn't make it. It was such confusion with black education back then, where you would get information to show up at a school and you were supposed to start that day, and then when you get there they couldn't find your paperwork, and you were supposed to go to that school across town. No one could even get to it. It was so stressful that you could not pay attention to learning. So it was the oppression of education in Yonkers why a lot of us didn't make it. And thank God I was able to obtain my GED, and that way I could take the test to go into cosmetology.
Did you want a GED or were you pushed to get it? Or How did that work?
The system was set up that way. The system was set up that way. Even I should have been able to take cosmetology in high school. They had a program at Saunders. I should have been at that school. Why was I even in Roosevelt? It was during a time where you went to a high school based on your interests or your talents or things like that, or you got bused back and forth, but it was not set up for success for black people in Yonkers.
So what I was wondering is, what made you were you like, I'm gonna finish, I'm going to get a GED, or did somebody tell you you're going to get a GED, you need a GED?
My mom,
oh, okay.
and back in those days, I was trying to be Muslim and wear my hair wrapped up and everything. My mom was like, listen, okay, I get all of that, but what you're going to do is get this GED so you can enroll in cosmetology school, because you need at least a diploma to even go to cosmetology school. So, my mom was like, okay, take that wrap off your head. And what you going to do? Because you couldn't participate in, the cosmetology school with the other students and stuff without having your hair out. You know what I mean? So, my mom was like, this is what you're going to do. This is the avenue you're going to take. You're going to do it. And you're going to go to cosmetology school. And that was at 19. You know what I'm saying? So, if I had taken time off, like when a high school didn't work out, to get right into a program, finish it so I can enroll, it wasn't going to happen. And that's what happened to a lot of us. Once it didn't work out in high school, once it was easy when they didn't have your paperwork and everything together, it was like, oh, I don't exist in this world. Let me just drift.
That's sad, because what's sad is you're right. You're right. And it was a whole mentality shift.
Yeah.
So after, you get your GED, you're an adult, you're ready to hit the ground running. What do you do right after you get your GED?
Right after, I worked at this credit card imprinter place on Riverdale in Yonkers, and they made credit card imprinters. You remember when you bought something and they put it on the thing and they had to go to get a credit card charge? So I worked at a factory making those on a factory line in Yonkers. I did that. I sold Mary Kay. And a beautiful woman that worked at social service, because we, still in that era of going to social service, trying to get, a little money even to take the bus, or they wouldn't support cosmetology school. So when I was in there trying to get a stipend to just be able to go to school or help me pay for school, I met this woman in social service. I can't remember her name right now, but she was a godsend. She's like, why don't you try to sell Mary Kay? And Mary Kay was such a great product, it pretty much sold itself. I didn't know much about the makeup and how to apply and things like that, but I could do the skincare. I could really push the skincare and do little Mary Kay parties. So I did that and worked at this factory. After that, I worked for the post office. I was a casual for the post office. My godmother worked for the post office. She said they're looking for, seasonal workers. So with that, I could work 6 months and be laid off for 6 months and still get unemployment. And I wasn't vested, so I didn't have insurance or pension or anything through the postal service because it was seasonal. So, people would be waiting around for those type of jobs to become permanent when they would just have you for a couple of months, lay you off. That people were doing that for years. And that was a part of the oppression too. Even the sugar factory in Yonkers, people would be like, oh, that's a good job if I could just get permanent there and they were hired for like a season or something like that, and all the black people were in that shift, you know. So my mom was like, go to school. What do you want? What do you want to do? So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do cosmetology school. So I went down to Wilford, and the Galleria was right across the street from Wilford Academy. And I was able to get a job at G&G's clothing store and go to school in the day, work there at night. And I did that until I landed my first hairstyling job. But right away in school, like, it's like a portion of it is all book work, all theory. And then there's a portion of school that's practical. You know, you get to work on people right then, you know, doing clients in the clinic of cosmetology school. I started getting tips right away. So tips, I'm like, I'm making money already and I'm not even graduated. So I could wash my uniforms. I could go back and forth on the bus. I could get my hair done sometimes just based on the tips that I would get in cosmetology school. And to this day, I still have some of those clients that I did in school to this day. And great friends.
So, beautiful journey thus far. So according to the 2023 U.S. Census Bureau, black people represent roughly 14% of the U.S. population. But according to the strategy management and consulting firm McKinsey, black people represent less than around 10% of the black cosmetologists in the country. What made you, with so few black cosmetologists, what made you think that you could be successful as a black cosmetologist?
First of all, I just knew, even if I wasn't as good coming out of school, if you gave a work ethic and you gave like being on time, scheduling myself properly, all these things, even if I didn't do a good job the first time, I knew that someone would give me a second chance just based on my personality and the willingness for excellence and the willingness to be consistent. Like if you came in, I knew early on that I had to alter my personality to, if I'm having a bad day, to leave it at the door and pick it up when I leave. I didn't know that it would work, but that's how I began to retain clients. And I knew word of mouth that first impressions are everything. So I always showed up neat, clean, and with research. If I knew what my client wanted and what they tried to achieve, I would do my research on it. And I would definitely show up with all the bells and whistles. So I knew human nature would, for people, that it would be a repeat thing, because it's a good feeling when someone shows up for you. Customer satisfaction, being on time, being a listener, all those skills that it takes for cosmetology that I learned all mattered. You know, a lot of people go to cosmetology school and they just styling hair, but it's science, math, and chemistry, and also human behavior. You know what I mean? I gotta eat a lot of crap, you know. I had to learn to set the boundaries on the way growing, but I just knew with consistency and hard work and talent, and it will work out, because all things do when you give it that.
that's deep. So, what is in our communities, our neighborhoods, in our community? There's the ladies that do hair, like, oh, she do hair. What's the difference between she do hair and a cosmetologist?
Okay, a huge difference. I'm licensed. A cosmetologist, like I said, it's math, chemistry, and science. I mean, you can't just do, you can, I mean, at the end of the day, it's the chemistry that deals with all the chemicals. And you got to know chemistry to deal with these chemicals. When you just doing hair, 10 times out of 1, you're going to run into some problems with the chemistry part of it. And it's going to take out some hair. Okay? And the math is the cutting. You know what I mean? It's all angles and getting a great cut. It just, you know, ain't just going down the line cutting hair. I mean, all of this hair connects. You know what I'm saying? Like your beard, you know, the lines on your beard are even. You know, you can't just be in your living room doing that, because you know your mirror is your tool as well. You know, I can't see what my naked eye, what my mirror could see, and that's trained in cosmetology. You know, face shapes, you know, certain things that I see when the hair is shedding in a way, I know it's something going on with the body. You know what I'm saying? It's like a lack of iron, vitamins, things like that. I'm able to detect that just from your hair. A cosmetologist is also able to detect sickness, diabetes, brain tumors. I've found in certain areas of the hair, if it's breaking off at the nape all the time, 10 times out of 1 that those are cancer cells, you know, acting up. There's a lot of things that you can tell at the bowl when you are a cosmetologist. This is serious business. Even braiding hair, all of that stuff, it's a skill for a reason. And to black women, in our credit, we all do have, not all of us, but many of us have a talent for putting, you know, you between your legs and brushing your hair and oiling your scalp. It's something that's culture in our culture that we all do have. But it's another level when you're dealing with chemicals and you're cutting and, you know, all of those things. But, you know, putting our hands on each other and helping wash our hair and, you know, groom each other is in our culture as well. So that's where the confusion kind of gets mixed in between. But cosmetology is a skill. So if you're searching for professionalism and someone that has education in this area, you would want to go with a cosmetologist.
So let's just say there is a young lady or a young man doing hair in their house. They're doing okay, got decent clientele. So you would recommend that they go to cosmetology school?
Oh, definitely. You're missing out on so much. That education is amazing. It's almost like the game. Remember the game Doctor, when you know the neck bone is connected to the leg bone. I mean, it's all connected. And once you have that education, you can create, you can make products, you can. I mean, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, you know. And why not? Like, learn how to do quarterly taxes and get a business certificate, a business account where you can grow into real wealth. Okay, you start whatever, but how you gonna finish? How you gonna finish? when the T's are not crossed and the I's are not dotted. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely, I definitely understand. So so somebody, just say somebody that's been doing hair same amount of time as you, 30 years. You went to cosmetology school, they did not. What advantage did cosmetology school give you? Even though you've been doing hair the same amount of time, what advantage does the school give you over that person that did not go?
Because I got trained in ownership. That's part of the program. They have a whole text of how to manage a salon, how to people manage, how to manage a disgruntled client, how to manage disease control, how to manage disinfectant. All of these things are huge. I mean, when you go take your cosmetology test, it's very rarely about hair. It's about all the things that can, in this pandemic, it hit the salons first. It's like disease control is huge, especially in a moist area where there's chemicals and people and germs. So if you don't learn that, then you're going to run into problems, because that's where disease starts. In the scalp, from people to people, comb to comb, business-wise, on how to operate a front desk, how to enter a phone, how to separate your bookings, how to have that cleanliness. Is all a part of the cosmetology program. So why not have the advantage of knowing that instead of winging it? Like, I don't get it.
Yeah, I was actually, so I'll ask you that later on though, because I don't get it either. So right after, why do you think, so given that statistic, why do you think that there are so few black cosmetologists?
Consistency, and it's people management. Now, I could go in, the happiest I am is doing hair, right? But it's the person that's attached to it. I'm on so many roller coasters per day where it's hard. It's the hardest part of this business is people management. And not everybody has the skill set for it. Because what happens in our black community with women, we all defensive. It's defend and deflect. Defend and deflect. Now, in the cosmetology world, I have to be a listener. I can't defend. And then I see it with even my crew, my staff. They, a client might be like, I didn't want it this way. And it defends. But you came in and you asked for blah, 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 blah. Wait. Let's dial it down. Because these are personalities we dealing with. Okay, what do you want? Put my shoulders down. Okay, we can revisit that. We can take our time, and you said this, but okay, I hear you saying that, and let's pursue it. But that's a skill set, that you would learn in school as well. But managing people is the hardest part of this business. I had a client, and then you got to fire certain clients and do it nicely. I just had a situation where I had a client, a long-time client, 20 years, come in with mask off of a cruise, no mask, sick as hell. I wasn't there to start her, so the assistant started her. I would have asked her to leave right away in a nice way. They didn't know how to say, you're sick, you shouldn't be here, my team. And we're going to go over that. That's something that we need to talk about, how to handle those type of situations. However, she, I got off the cruise, I have a nasty cold. I said, well, I don't want a cold or COVID or anything. So we're not doing brain surgery here. We're just doing hair. You can miss an appointment. But But she went into defense because that's what black women do. Well, I didn't know I had it, and I said, well, you knew you weren't feeling well, and I just think it's inconsiderate for you to come the day before the 4th of July. All of us are going to our families and friends and cookouts and things like that. You know how big that can be if one person in here, 2 people got sick. It could be a super spreader. And the point is, nobody got time to be sick. So she just went into defense. How about you don't come anymore? I set the boundary, and she kept jumping over it, making it about her. And that, just to have to speak to her that way, gave me agita all day, because I don't want to have those type of conversations. I try to handle it as best as I can. However, these are the boundaries here that you have to follow to respect everyone that comes here and my staff. And first of all, me, But that's a skill that I'm dealing with every day. And most people, it's hard. It's hard to manage people.
And thank you. So, right after cosmetology school, you're done, you graduate. What was the very first thing you did professionally when you left cosmetology school?
Okay, I obtained a job at the hairstylist in the Galleria Mall. And I think that was 1991. And the Galleria was the bomb at that time. All the NBA players lived at the Seasons condominiums. They had Green Jeans, which was a restaurant at the Galleria. So, and all the basketball wives used to come there. And I was the first black girl to work there. So once some of my friends from cosmetology school, when they graduated, I would say, listen, come over and get a job over here. So it was all Italian salon. And this Italian guy was really interested in the black clientele. So he's like, listen, I need you to teach me how to order products like relaxers and things that we use that they didn't provide. It was only like curly perms and color and cuts. So I really got a taste of salon management right out the gate. That was, God struck me on that. And I only worked there for a year, but I managed all the black stylists, and I managed ordering all the products. And I had an opportunity to do black and white hair. And on the white hair, I mastered cutting. So it was cut, blow, cut, blow, cut, blow. So that was it. And then there was a place called the World of Beauty. These older black women, about 10 of them got together, bought a building here in Greenburgh. And they had a storefront downstairs, and they had apartments upstairs that they broke up into suites. So I was able to obtain a suite, and it was two stations and a sink and storage, and it was like $500 a month. And I partnered up with a partner at that time, and we shared that rent. And I worked for another black stylist while I had that place. But that's how I was able to go into business, because these black women came together and invested in this building called the World of Beauty. And I stayed there for 17 years. And there, how I marketed myself was through the sororities and the churches. And I thought that would be my target audience, So I would give gift certificates at their luncheons and do ads in their journals and things like that. Church, I would give, and it was about giving. Because once they got in a chair, I knew that they would come back and that they would tell somebody. So, and then those type of women taught me something along the way. I had lawyers in my chair now. I have bankers in my chair now. I had sports people in my chair now, and they were like, "Hey, Michelle, you should get a website. I got a guy who has a name, a guy, the banker. Hey, let me help you open up a real bona fide business account. Let me take you to the county building, and you can get your business registered. Get the phone under the business name. How about you get a tax ID number?" So I was learning because I really made an intention on a target audience. You know what I mean? And at that point, I didn't know about price point. But once I started getting popular, I had to go up on my price point. Just, first of all, for my lifestyle, to grow, to project for bigger space, a bigger team, and to also weed out the foolishness. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not going to come in my chair and stress me out. You know what I'm saying? So I just had to stick to that target audience. And then once I have a room full, it's just a connection of minds that also is the sauce in good business. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, so you move further in business, and as you move further in business, you learned from your clientele how to move even further.
Yep.
Yeah, no, so this was already ordained. This was already set in motion for you to grow.
Mm-hmm.
You just had to walk it out.
Yeah.
So let's just say there is a young lady or young man working in a salon right now, working for someone else. They're considering going into the business for themselves. They're considering doing their own thing. What advice would you give them, or what do they need to know about the salon business that they absolutely need to know before they make a move?
Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, really connect with the owner that you're working for. Say, listen, I'm trying to go into my own thing. Communication is lost in this business. I've had client stylists want to do their own business, and they think it's easy because they don't really see the sauce, and it's always a stealing thing of clients. I think communication is key. Talk to the owner, tell them that this is what you want to do. If they have any pointers or anything like that for you, collaborate. Number one. Number two, get a projection. You need a projection. And a projection is not like, oh, I see this space is this amount of money. I could do these heads to pay that. No. How much is your rent? How much will cleaning be? Start out products. All of those numbers need to come into accountability for your outcome. So that's how you get to price yourself. So you're not just pulling numbers out of your head like, oh, I'm going to charge $50 for a haircut. And if I do 4 cuts, I could get blah, 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 blah. You're going to fall into the pitfalls with that. So you want to just really have a real projection of your monthly, quarterly, and yearly cost. Now, what's your clientele? And how many people would you need, how much money would you need to make a week, a day, to obtain this bottom line? And you have an income for your household bills, your food, your laundry, all of those things come in, account. So that's why the failures happen, because it's like, hey, this place is $1,000 a month. I could do 3-4 heads and blah 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 blah, but the numbers ain't numbering. And then you know what I'm saying? Then you trying to compete with like, oh, I'm gonna charge $20 because she charging $30. Huh? Like, oh, they'll all come to me then. And I also recommend this book. Rachel Rogers, We All Should Be Millionaires. She has a workbook and a book about gaining and how to give to start and how to project the numbers. And it's a workbook, Rachel Rogers, anybody can use for any business venture that they want to get into to give themselves some structure on how to do the projection.
You've been masterfully and successfully running your own salon for 32 years, or you've been in the industry for 32 years. So we already talked about the statistics and how many people fall off. What is it that you, as a business owner, entrepreneur, what do you do differently than that other 75% that fell off?
Well, just like in the pandemic, it was a great opportunity to see what I'm leaving on the table. And I had to jump with technology. Technology is keeping stylists out because a lot of us creative people, we're not keeping up with the politics. We're not even keeping up with what's going on in technology. I had to put all my inventory into an Amazon store. I had to hook up all the areas in my salon with Amazon. Now I could say, okay, Mary Jane wants this product. She's built in the system, and it can go be at her house in 2 days. That has built up a whole new income revenue because of technology. Okay, so I said, okay, now I got to redo my website. Always have a online presence. Now I don't have to be in a storefront because my storefront is online. So whenever you're gonna Google hair, black hair, natural hair, relaxed hair, straight hair, cut, all those words are in the search engine. So when someone's looking for something, boom, I pop up. So just shifting in that technology shifted the business. You know, where I could be upstairs and not even visible because now my visibility is online. And I have every client leaving me a review. So you're going to have real people with real reviews, real pictures, real conversations to say, oh, this is how the shopper shops now. The shopper doesn't ask their grandmother at church who does their hair. They're going to look for reviews, go online and see what salons have 5 stars. So in that shift, boom, it put me right up there. So now seats are in a chair because of technology. Now if I'm sitting back listening to, love and hip hop and the things where we're not learning, you always want to, your phone could be a device for learning too. You can have these things for learning. You can listen to podcasts like yours. You can put yourself in a mindset of learning. And when you do that, business will always increase for you. And now we're 5 years in that technology. Now we got to jump again with the new technology. So what are we going to do now? Okay, now I want to do a rosemary oil. Check, did it. Now I want to do a subscription box for my clients. Check. You leaving all of that money on the table. And now I got my database real built up with all emails, numbers, names, professions, history. Now I got a mailing list. Maybe I'll do a retreat. It's so many avenues you doing when you're building out your clientele. You gotta be hip with the technology. You gotta be hip with politics. You gotta be constantly learning and not just drifting, because you could become adrift where you're in a room and you don't understand any of these conversations. So now you're just gonna go to the corner bar because you feel comfortable there. You know what I mean? So there it is.
So do you So it's not necessarily the hair styling that has been your success. That's like the cherry on top, but you're saying like your success is being abreast of different ways of building an actual business. So you're focusing on business. You're focused on business as opposed to the hair. The hair is natural. You're just natural. You're just good at it, and you work to be good at it. But building the business is what helps you to be successful.
Exactly, because I'm getting older. I'm 54 now. I can't stand behind that chair all my life. You know what I'm saying? So what is retirement going to look like for me? You know what I'm saying? I also want to give the advice too that nobody gave me. You know, get a Vanguard account. Set it and forget it. Start right away. $50, $100 a month. I mean, in this business, money could be like sand in your hands. But if you give it the proper flow, and flow means currency, then you can build your retirement, your wealth. No one is telling us about that. Like, people think you have to be some expert to watch stock and invest in. Oh, I'm gonna get what they call it, those little accounts, I forget, but these little apps, and if you put 500 you could buy it. No, it's a scam. Get a Vanguard account or Citizens account. These are brokerage accounts that you set amount, let it go every month. Believe me, before you know it, you'll be wealthy. And when you got that kind of comfortability, now you can take risk in business. Does that make sense?
No, it makes perfect sense. So you're saying like lay a financial foundation for yourself so that you can start to build on that foundation and take other risks and maybe try other avenues after you've built a solid foundation.
Yes.
Thank you. That's excellent advice, because that just happens to not be a thing that I think we hear a lot of in our community as well. Is get a brokerage account.
Just do it.
Invest.
Just do it.
Do it.
Just set it and forget it.
What are 3 things in any business? What are 3 things that are absolutely necessary to succeed in business?
Sometimes failure. I don't want to leave that out, because there's been times and it hasn't all been great, but those are the big lessons that I'm grateful for, because God set you back to set you up, and don't be afraid to fail. That's a big one. Yeah, it's huge, because I learned most of my lessons out of my failures, and it's made me better. So I would say that, and just wake up, never stop, never get comfortable, always search for a higher level of service. And with that, it's spiritual. It will come. When you see it and you really give it your all, God will put the things in front of you, even the bad things, so you can learn, because this life ain't nothing but our real school. So, and if you don't learn, you're going to keep learning it until you learn it.
I know, and thank you for that, because you definitely delivered a lot of wisdom in this time, in this short time that we've been on. I know that you're always big on reaching back in order to help others succeed.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna ask you a crazy question, but why do you care? It would be just as easy for you to take your success and take your wealth and go do what you want to do. Why do you care about those behind you?
because I am them. I mean, people help me out in this life, and being that little girl, going to that park with that lunch box. You know how we used to have the lunch in the green box. The insecurity of like food and being able to, just have the dollar to go get your penny candy, have a way, that's dear to my heart. So if I could help out kids and teach a skill of like what the word, I remember going to a little program, and the word of the day was procrastination, and I never even heard that word before, and it was like, and they did all the examples of, how you think of something that you want to do, and you lay there and you think about it and you never get to it, and that's what procrastination means. And it was like, wow, I do that, you know what I mean? And how do I change that? And they gave examples of how to change it. And just that little thing that I went to as a kid, I carried that with me. It's like, you know what? Get up, do it now. Don't procrastinate. I knew something that was a skill that was useful. So if I could do that for anybody, that gives me joy. It gives me joy. And we're such in this caste system of the way we think about ourselves and what we think we should have and not have. It's a mindset, and it's trauma. You know what I mean? From our ancestors. So each one teach one something. Somehow we got to cut through this trauma. So that's how I see it.
And that's beautiful. And that's and I know that, you look at things that way, which is why it was so important to interview you, because I'll be honest, and it makes me sad, a lot of people do not see it that way. A lot of people are like, I got mine, get it how I got mine, and give it out.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yeah, it's not. Somebody helped you. I don't care who you are, what the situation is.
Hello, somebody. Come on now.
Come on now. So, do you think that there is a need for more black cosmetologists, or is it fine?
Oh no, yes. It's a shortage of us. That's why I'm so busy. I'm like, wait, I'm gonna have to retire one day. But yeah, it's a shortage of, and they trying to get this industry so bad. That's why they're trying to get lawsuits going for relaxer, claiming it's giving ovarian cancer when they're saying, it has formaldehyde in it, and that's not true. Those are keratin products that white women use on their hair, and some black women too. But that's what has formaldehyde in it, not the relaxer. A black man invented the relaxer, and to pay Chris Rock to equate relaxer with crack is crazy when we know what the crack epidemic did to the black community.
You talking about making good hair?
Yeah.
I always wanted to see that.
It's crazy. Who paid Chris Rock to down his black women in public about their hair routines? I've never seen or heard any comedians put down black women the way Chris Rock did. It was insane. And to relate relaxer with crack, and then you have black women saying to each other, "Oh, you on that creamy crack?" I mean, what? First of all, it's about a preference, you know what I mean? And we all get to do what we want to do without feeling like, oh, I'm sneaking crack into my hair. I mean, do you hear this? It's just insane. So yeah, there's an attack on the black hair industry. And it's the L'Oreals of the world that want to take out, like Dudley. Mr. Dudley, he was on a rise. He was educating black women in cosmetology, sending them to all over, big hair shows, big industry that they couldn't put their hands in. So they sent out a Chris Rock to call it crack. And it has chopped up the hair industry so bad. Now you got people saying, oh, I'm just a natural stylist. Oh, I just make wigs. Oh, I just do this. Oh, don't even wash your hair to come. It's insane. But it's the big companies like the L'Oreals of the world. And now they want to push their agenda on us. Oh, we got curly hair puddings and this and that, and we're gonna buy Mael. We're gonna buy, Shea Moisture. We're gonna buy, it's obvious. And if black people can't see what's happening, it's sad. But it's a big missed opportunity in this billion-dollar industry. And black women are walking around looking bad. I mean, I just take my time and look around. Everybody got some type of, I love the braids, don't get me wrong, but we ain't all gotta wear braids. Or you got some type of head wrap or wig on. I mean, like, to see a woman with her own natural healthy hair, it's possible. Then they're giving us the message that we can't grow our hair. Like, oh yeah, you gotta wear a wig because your hair just won't. Oh, and you have black women saying it to each other. Oh, my hair won't get past this level. My hair don't grow. It's just so untrue. So yeah, it's a big attack on black stylists, cosmetologists, our hair industry, our hair products, the ownership of stores and hair stores and beauty supply stores. And every supermarket has a whole aisle dedicated to black hair products. I'm like, it's a real thing.
So we definitely need more representation. We need more seats at the beauty table.
Big time. Big time. Big time. And nobody's talking about it, which is sad.
No, that's the beautiful part. Is that's why we're talking about it, because nobody's talking about it.
Yeah.
One more statistic I wanted to run by you. So, also according to the McKinsey firm, last year alone, the U.S. beauty industry was worth $60 billion and is expected to reach $73 billion by 2025. Now, another important factor is black Americans spent $6.6 billion last year on beauty. However, black beauty brands make up only 2.5% of the revenue in the beauty industry. So, black consumers are responsible for 11.1% of the revenue. What that means to me is that there is a huge percentage of black consumer dollars that are going toward non-black beauty brands.
Hey, I just said it. Yep.
I guess the question is, so now another thing is black consumers are 3 times more likely to be dissatisfied than non-black consumers with their options for hair care, skin care, and makeup. Which means they're forced to buy products that they don't even really like, but they're buying them because there's no other option.
Exactly.
Why do you think there are so few black beauty brands themselves?
Okay, number one is called oppression. Okay, oppression. Did you hear me? I mean, there's a personal attack on black-owned beauty owned products. Like Mr. Dudley, his whole thing was his relaxer system. He owned his own factory. He owned his own schools. He was putting out educated cosmetologists. They put out creamy crack. I mean, that was on purpose. Now this man's business has diminished because his quality product of a relaxer that only built convenience into black women's lives was now on attack. we can never try to be white with straight hair because we got this black face. We've been accused of trying to look Caucasian because we want manageable hair. I mean, this is a whole nother show that we're going to have to talk about the attack. And I'll give you bullet points on where and how and what products lines have just been put out with this false narrative. And the false narrative is to oppress, period. Because that is an industry that they can't put their hand on. And when they saw 60 billion, and they're like, we ain't got our hands in their pocket for this? Oh, now it's time to destroy. And that's what's going down. That's it.
So speaking of opportunity in the beauty care product, in addition to Creative Finger Salon, you're developing a beauty product, a black-owned beauty product line as well.
Yes.
And your premier product is I'm actually pulling it up. So your premier product, I'll fix this.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So let me re-record that whole thing. In addition to Creative Finger Salon, you're also developing a black beauty product line as well. And your premier product is your rosemary growth oil.
Yes.
Tell everybody about the rosemary hair growth oil, how it works, why it works, and what it can do for them.
Okay. Well, rosemary is one of those herbs that has properties. It's almost like Rogaine on steroids with rosemary. It wakes up the follicle and it keeps the hair growing strong and beautiful. The scalp just drinks it. It's medicinal for growth. And anybody can research it. I just boiled down rosemary into a high quality olive oil, and it promotes growth. And it's simple, a simple ingredient. And I just put a live rosemary in it, so it's potent, and it just promotes growth. And if you can get to your friction alopecia and things of that nature that's going on with the scalp, if you can start that rosemary oil right away, you can recover your scalp. Certain slick areas that are slick and bald, though, it's hard to recover it. Some people go to dermatologists for steroid shots to try to get growth, but the important thing is to get it before it gets bad. Start a healthy routine of oiling your scalp before you wash your hair, maybe overnight, washing it out gently. You're going to see shine, you're going to see reflection, fullness, and strands that continue to stay strong in elasticity. Now, and you still have to maintain your trims and things like that, and that's very important to maintain hair trimming. But yes, this is an amazing product.
So for those that did not, like you were talking about earlier, those that do not believe that their hair can grow past here, this is one of the solutions that can help to prove them wrong?
Definitely. And you need consistency. See a professional at least once a month for a trim, a protein, or a moisture, and maintain with your rosemary. I mean, you can't lose. Simple.
Do a commercial for Creative Fingers Hair Salon?
Creative Fingers Hair Salon, the ultimate hair care experience where you can become that girl. That girl leaves with her hair shining, bouncing, and forever beautiful. That girl, Creative Fingers. And my shirt.
So, what is, how does Mushy, Michelle, how do you define success?
I really define success by family. Family. You have good people around you. You have honest people around you. People that love you and that are going to support you and encourage you. That is the epitome of success. Because it's hard to maintain connections. And I consider being very successful just having a great core group of beautiful people that we can rally with and be with and rally for us, and we rally for them. And with that, everything else comes. You know what I'm saying?
So, this is all one of my favorite questions, period, to ask anyone is, how do you define failure?
I define failure with growth.
I do too. And that's why it's one of my favorite questions, because I think failure is one of the most misunderstood concepts ever. Failure has like this negative connotation to it, like failure is bad, but I'm like, if you really analyze failure for what it is, all failure is are detailed instructions of how to succeed. Mm-hmm. So what's next for Michelle Mushy Bernard?
Well, like I said, the rosemary oils, I want to, make that bigger. And the subscription box, bridging the salon to the home. Having a seasonal subscription box that comes to your house for all your hair needs. A summer box, a fall box, a winter box, a spring box. That you can, bridge between the salon and home. That will come with some tutorials and some instructions, so I could try to educate more beyond the salon. So that's really my biggest next goal.
And so for anyone that is, and for anyone watching that wants your information, where to find you, where can someone find you if they wanted to get to book an appointment with you? I'm
at Creative Fingers Hair Salon .com is my website. We have a number 914-684-2790, and you could book online with the website. So there I am. And thank you so much for having me.
No, so thank you for being here. I know that you have a very extensive clientele, extremely busy. So thank you for taking the time to be here.
My pleasure.
Most importantly, thank you for choosing not to believe the false negative narratives, but thank you for choosing to succeed instead.
Thank you.
So, one last thing before I let you go is we are at the black box segment of the show that we mentioned. So, in this segment, we ask each guest to make a deposit of some wisdom, insight, or guidance that they think would help to uplift the black community. So, what would you be able to deposit today?
I would like to deposit paying it forward. That concept is still a concept. Each one help one. We can't do it without each other. And I want to just encourage financial literacy. Like I said, Rachel Rogers, please get her workbook. It's going to help you make those connections to gaining all the skills you need for growth. So each one teach one, each one tell one. I put that in the box.
And thank you for that. And thank you for absolutely everything today. Once again, everybody, Miss Michelle Bernard.
Thank you. Mwah. Brian, you are amazing. Much success. Anything you need from me, you got me. We're family now. Agape.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. So just stay with me while I let everyone go. So everyone, thank you for tuning in. And thank you for your time and your energy. And also, if you also choose not to believe those false negative narratives or stereotypes, and you too choose to succeed in spite of them, then please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and let's continue to make great things happen. Peace.
Peace.